Hello everyone, my name is Morchen. I'm a community manager at ARTISANT. In today's special episode, we have Sandy Carter. Sandy Carter is a former Fortune 25 business executive and leader focused on helping companies with innovation and digital transformation through culture and technology like AI and blockchain. Sandy was general manager at IBM from 2013 to 2016, vice president at Amazon Web Services from 2017 to 2021, and she is currently senior vice president of business development at Unstoppable Domains. Also, Sandy is author of 5 books, including The New Language of Business, SOA at Web 2.0. Also, she's chairman of the board of nonprofit organization Girls in Tech. Hi, Sandy.
Hi, well, thank you so much for having me on your show today. My name is Sandy Carter, and I am SVP with Unstoppable Domains. If you don't know, Unstoppable Domains is a company that has a future with digital identity. We just became a unicorn, and we were just named as one of Forbes' best startups in the United States. So we're so excited to be here and so excited to chat with you today.
So I guess my first question is, when did you get into Web3?
I guess I would say I went down the rabbit hole when I was at Amazon Web Services. So my job before Unstoppable, I spent 5 years with Amazon Web Services, a great company, by the way. I learned so much there. For the last year, they had asked me to look at some of the advanced technologies that were coming out. So I got to work with things like Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, as well as a big focus on blockchain. And that's really how I started going down the rabbit hole, was when I started exploring blockchain, not just for Web3 companies, but looking at all the applications for Web2 as well. So I just became enamored with the technology itself and how trusted it is, how secure it is. The entire philosophy of blockchain as well was very intriguing to me. And that's how I started going down the rabbit hole. From there, I played with everything personally, really kind of diving into some of it on a personal fashion. And then from there, I got a call from Unstoppable and decided not to make this just a side project, but to go into this full steam ahead and really to adopt Web3.
What are your latest insights in Web3?
So some of my latest insights into Web3 are some of the things that I believe make it a little different than the world I came from, I guess I should say, in Web2. In fact, if you think about it, some of the differences are kind of interesting. Community, for example, is one. If you think about Web2 communities, they're not as cohesive and not as focused. Whereas in Web3, community really matters. Community has voice. Community provides insight, direction. It's really all about the community, if I had to say so. It really, really drives what you are doing and what you're focused on. The second insight about Web3 that I really love is digital identity. And if you think about digital identity, in Web2, in the Web2 world, you go and you sign in with your digital identity into maybe a Google app, into Instagram, into Twitter. And each of those has a different way for you to sign in. And for you being able to use their login and their application, you give up some of the data. Well, Web3 is all about ownership. It's ownership of that data and ownership of your digital identity. So in the Web3 world, you use a digital identity or a domain to sign into all applications. And then all of that information, all of that data that you save, whether it's your email or your location or your social status, all of that data stays with you. And then all that data, as it stays with you, you get to decide when that data is shared, how that data is shared, how much of the data is shared. I find that so incredibly insightful as you're thinking about Web3 and some of the things that make it, so very important as well.
What are your favorite things or projects in Web3? What are the main values that make you like this project? Why do you believe in them the most?
So some of my favorite projects in Web3, let me start out with a favorite project. One of those is Lazy Lions. Now, why do I like the Lazy Lions? Well, there's a couple of things and reasons why I like the Lazy Lions. So first, let me start with what are the Lazy Lions? So the Lazy Lions is an NFT group. It's an NFT collection. NFTs are digital assets that you can buy, non-fungible tokens, if you were. And I find Lazy Lions really interesting, right? Because as you think about it, Lazy Lions really represents a community. It really represents the start of a community. They were formed back in 2000 and 2021. And their mission or their goal is that the community that we talked about earlier, the community is the project and the project is the community. And in fact, they call their community kings and queens. So it's a king or a queen. And if you jump into their Discord, which is where the community gathers, it's a messaging tool, there are over 1,500 members in that community. The core values, which I really like, that guide that community is that everybody has a voice. Everybody contributes to a roadmap. Everybody really is part of the Lazy Lions NFT collection. And I think that's really been part of the secret sauce of them becoming a top collection in the NFT space. Everything that they do is aimed on providing value back to the community as they go forward. So that's one of the things that I love about Web3, one of the projects that I love. You also asked me what are some of the things that I love. Well, one of the things that I love is I do love the blockchain. So the blockchain is really the backbone of Web3 and the metaverse. And I told you that's really where I first started going down the rabbit hole as well. What is a blockchain? Well, it's a trusted and distributed ledger. And it's used to solve a lot of common business problems between multiple parties. The blockchain builds trust in the network. So it's very powerful. It is literally just a chain of blocks, if you would. And if I use an analogy, it's kind of like if you had, a storage unit. Each of those blocks represents a storage unit and has data in it. That blockchain is then run by a decentralized network, which makes it really cool and very powerful because there's no one entity or company or country that controls all of that data. So if you think about it today, we had kind of used an example earlier, like Twitter has their database and LinkedIn has their database. But in a Web3 world built on top of blockchain, there's this distributed network of information and everybody can grab from that information if given permission to do so. So one of the reasons why I really love the blockchain is that it is transparent. It has capabilities of user ownership in it. So the user owns the data. I love the fact that it's interoperable, so it allows you to move data between different applications. It is immutable, so it can't be changed. So, today parents tell their kids, watch out what you post on Facebook because, you never know where it's going to show up again. I think in the future, people are going to say, be careful what you post on the blockchain because you never know where it's going to show up again. And that blockchain is also very programmable as well. So if you ask me, I think those are probably some of my favorite projects, like the community. I think that's what makes that project my favorite and the value prop. And then the blockchain. The blockchain has so much power. And because it is the backbone of Web3 and the metaverse, for me, it is probably the most important thing about Web3 that's going on today.
What NFT do you buy and what do you collect?
Well, of course, you guys probably already guessed, I am a collector of Lazy Lions because I do like what they're doing, but I also support a lot of female-driven projects. So for instance, BFF, Blockchain Friends Forever, I'm very supportive of that particular collection. And I love it because they are really trying to educate one woman at a time, educate women on Web3. And that's one of the reasons why I really love that particular collection. I'm also a collector of Ancient Warriors. Ancient Warriors is a set of artists, Black and brown artists, who came together to create a very special collection. And I love that because it really gives a voice to some of the more diverse groups that are out there into the marketplace. And I guess the final one I would tell you is Fame Ladies. Now, why do I like Fame Ladies? Well, if you don't know the history of Fame Ladies, they were actually started as one of the first quote-unquote female groups that were out there. But then it was discovered that actually females weren't behind the group. It was actually run by a group of Russian men. And so the community responded, and a group of women actually took it over. In fact, I was just with them last night. So I love the fact that they were the first female project, kind of duped. Then the owners were doxxed, and they've got a new set of owners now that are women that are really impacting and driving, kind of the driving force behind that group. So those are just some of the collections I love. I have so many though. I love like Pudgy Penguins and I don't know, Bored Apes. There's so many that I really, really do love.
How can traditional institutes integrate Web3 to make their work more
So we see a lot of traditional enterprises, institutions, really trying to work with Web3 too. And a lot of that is, I would say, experimentation. And you know, experimentation is really good and super strong, I believe. I think it's a really great way, you know, to start. So as we start to see more, I would call them traditional Web2 brands enter this world, I think that's awesome. Definitely encourage it. But I would say there are some things that you should do and some missteps that you should avoid. First, I would say that collaboration with a Web3 company is really important. Now, why do I say that? Well, Web3 is its own community and it's got its own culture. And, you know, anytime you have a culture and a community, you want to make sure that you fit in, that you understand the norms of that community as well. So I think it's really important if brands are entering this space that they do so understanding the space. And that could either be by partnering with someone, buying someone like Nike did, you know, really looking very carefully at how you might be a part of that community. And then I would say that for a Web3, you know, Web2 company looking to come into a Web3 world, like from a traditional space, some of the best ways to do that are to experiment. Some of my favorites are, you know, maybe building an office in a metaverse. So we built our Unstoppable Women of Web3. We built a headquarters in the metaverse. And man, we learned so much by doing that. You learned about a different audience, how an avatar matters, what an avatar can do, what type of information and digital assets are more important in that metaverse. I think, you know, doing something like that is really interesting. I think another could be, you know, designing a DAO or a decentralized autonomous organization. And these decentralized autonomous organizations or DAOs are used today to make decisions. So maybe you don't take your whole company as a DAO like many companies are today, but maybe you use a DAO for a particular division or group or set of decisions. In fact, we at Unstoppable partnered with Blue Studios, who released a family wallet and a family DAO template. So you could even experiment as a personal gesture with your family to understand how a DAO works and what it does. Other examples are maybe using an NFT as a ticket. You know, the Super Bowl just did that this year, or American football, where actually an NFT became your ticket, became a souvenir for you to take with you. Or maybe you decide that you want to go and do a presentation or part of your conference in the metaverse. Some businesses are doing that, like KPMG is holding meetings in the metaverse. I just met with Jeannie this morning. They're doing meetings in the metaverse with brands. Those are just some of the examples and some of the ways that I think a Web2 or traditional institution could really enter the space and make it really, really effective.
If you would have a superpower, what would it fix in the crypto space?
Okay, well, this is an interesting question. So, if I had a superpower, how would I use that and what would I do to impact the space? Well, I think, as you look at the space, and I kind of view it as a layer cake with the blockchain kind of being the foundation, sitting on top of Web3. Web3 really uses blockchain, and sitting on top of that is the metaverse. Now, I know the metaverse could also be Web2, but I think the most effective and fastest growing are sitting on top of Web3 and blockchain. Sitting on cross of all of that is user interface. So if I had one superpower, I would use it to help the user interface, the user interaction, the way things are done to be fixed in this space. And let me give you an example. Teaching someone how to get a wallet in the space, it's very hard. It's very difficult today. I was just teaching a class. I'm a Carnegie Mellon adjunct professor, and I was teaching a class in the metaverse, and people got stuck on top of the ceiling during my lecture because they couldn't figure out how to get down. So I think a big focus on user interface, user design, user experience is so needed, and something that, had I the superpower, poof, that I could wish for it, that's what I would wish for sure.
Do you have a dream or a goal related to Web3 which inspires or excites you?
So let me see. If I had a dream or a goal in Web3, what about that excites me or inspires me? Well, I will tell you that digital identity really inspires me. And it inspires me because I believe that a digital identity is a human right. And that data about you should be controlled by you, not given to someone else to control, to sell, to use. I was just reading a report that said that Facebook and Google spend over $1 billion. They get revenue of over $1 billion of revenue selling your data, my data. So what really inspires me about this space is, getting that data back into the hands of the users, putting that data back in the rightful owner. For me, that is something that, is so very powerful, has so much potential. And, it's not just going to impact retail or, what you buy or what you sell, but I think eventually it'll impact healthcare and education, so many more things that we don't even know about today. And I think it does have the power to transform really worlds as well. And that's why I do feel it's a human right. And that's why it is incredibly important to me and incredibly inspirational to me as well.
What do you think about digital fashion and collections of artisans?
So what do I think about digital fashion, and what do I think about the collections that you guys have today? Well, first of all, I am a huge digital fashion, I guess I would say, lover. I love fashion of any kind. And in fact, one of my best friends leads fashion for the government that's set up in China. It's so amazing. And I love seeing fashion because fashion, is really a form of expression, right? And so what I love is being able to design my outfit and wear something that maybe I couldn't have even worn in real life. Like one time I went to a fashion show in the metaverse, and I had these heels that were 10 inches tall. I could never wear those in real life, but in the metaverse, I could wear those, or feathers, or huge dresses, or just amazing things. Do my hair pink one day and blue the other. I love everything that we have the potential to do in the metaverse. I really like your fashion. It's very unique, very different. And I know that you have some incredible artwork that's out there. And for me, that's part of the power of Web3. And the power of Web3 to me is not just that technology stack we talked about in the center, but I think Web3, more than others, introduces this artist, the creator economy. And that's what you guys are really doing with your artwork, is looking and leveraging that creator economy and helping artists get their rightful due as it moves forward. So I'm really digging your whole collection. I love your roadmap that you have laid out as well, and how you've got that going out to 2023, which is pretty amazing, and that you've got some incredible partners that you've partnered with as well. I think that you guys will do really well, and I'm really honored to be even on today to discuss this as well.
What advice would you give to others who want to get into Web3?
Advice that I would give others who want to get started in Web3. Well, my advice would be, don't wait. Get started now. You know, it's not too late. People often ask me, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't start because I'm late. You're not. It's early. I always like to say that we're in the dial-up phase of Web3. And what that means to me is we're creating the next generation of the internet. It will be 3D. It will be ownership based. You'll own that data and own that digital identity. And so I think it's so exciting that you don't want to wait. You want to learn about it. You want to figure out where you fit. Do you fit with the creators? Do you fit in the tech side? Are you on the network side? What is your passion? So anybody who's out there, I would say get started today. A great way to start would be, to jump in, get a wallet, get a unstoppable domain as your name, so you don't have to fight with that long set of characters. And then, go and buy some incredible art collection. In particular, I love the Puma collection that you guys have today. I think it is game changer. So beautiful and so amazing. And, it's not just about that art either. It's about the art plus that community that's built around it. And so in my mind, get started today. Web3 is for everyone. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't get started and you can't get moving today.
Thank you so much, Sandy. It has been an insightful and helpful conversation.
Again, thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm so honored to be part of your, of the work that you're doing at your company. I'm so excited about your collection, and I'm really excited about the potential of Web3 and digital identity and how that can really help accelerate the game for all of us in this new world. So thank you so much for having me today, and I hope to see you out in the metaverse.